marriage of Tracy Bridges, moi, to Peter Cross, was to romance what the Hindenburg was to the history of flight.
The history between Tracy and me is why we have to be very careful in our working relationship together.
The man's not easy to work with. I mean, he's very opinionated.
Tracy? She's gorgeous and bright and sexy.
Which is not to say that he's always wrong.
Being with Tracy Bridges is like being on a high wire. A little scary, but what a view.
And even if Peter and I did book passage on the Hindenburg, at least we traveled first class.
Kelly, there's bound to be a certain time of adjustment, and it's understandable that there would be some tensions involved when two bright and talented...
Lady, you can lick it, stick it, and mail it, but I'm not putting my byline anywhere near it.
Morning.
Peter, you are behaving. Just as you have always behaved ever since I've known you. Like an egocentric jackass. Morning.
See? No. My point stands. This is just a phase. Tracy and Peter are going to work together beautifully. Eventually. You know, I'm convinced that in an earlier life, I was a marriage broker.
What's that?
A marriage broker, Kelly, was a person who, for a fee, arranged marriages between young people whom he felt were suited to one another, who had the best likelihood of maintaining a lifelong relationship, and whose union would be of the most benefit to the community.
Oh, you mean like in the old days, if Rob Lowe or somebody like that wanted to be with me, then he'd come to you and give you money, and then you'd set it up.
Kelly, what you're describing is a different occupation altogether. Think about it. It'll come to you.
I get it.
Yeah?
Mr. Cross? Okay, I come in.
A mechanic as good as you does not come to an office with good news. Wait. My car died, right?
We're still waiting for the transmission seals to come in. Should be Thursday, the latest.
You came up here to tell me about transmission seals. Yeah?
Peter, I've booked time for us with the research computer. We're due there in 10 minutes.
Bullets?
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, right, fine, whatever.
Peter, don't you dare hang up.
See, I buy 4 or 5 cars a month. Junkers mostly, tear down for parts and scrap. This was a good one. Old Fleetwood, been in an accident, burned up. I was tearing this thing down, and I found those in the upholstery of the driver's seat. Now, I did some infantry time in Korea. I've seen bullets before. And that one there, that's scuffed up the way they get scuffed up when they've been hitting something hard, like bone.
Could have been metal. Could have been the car frame.
Sure could have. Still, 2 bullets in the upholstery of the driver's seat. That's not exactly a standard option, even for Fleetwood.
Look, Richie, I'm not a cop. Not even close. Never wanted to be a cop.
Mr. Cross, I've been to the cops and they weren't interested. I had the old owner's registration. I called the cops in the town where he lived. They flat out thanked me and told me they weren't interested. I told them exactly what I told you. Now, if you're not interested either, That's fine by me. I've been to the press, I've been to the police. I just don't know what else I ought to be expected to do. I'll call you when your transmission seals come in. Thanks for your time.
Richie, you got that old registration on you?
And this answers your question. Here's a list of books and research data.
Morning, Cheryl.
Morning.
Print it out, will you, Cheryl?
Sure.
Very nice to see you.
Really? Cheryl, my love, can you explain the workings of this machine to me?
Sure, how many years you got?
Well, I need to know how versatile it is. I've heard about hackers, people who can finagle their way into other people's computer banks. Is this machine or its operator devious enough to do that?
Give me a such as.
Such as getting into the inners of the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles and seeing what, if anything, they've got on one Gregory Redden.
Knock it off, Cross. Like it or not, we have them. Are you sitting on a feather duster, or am I missing something here?
Well, far be it from me to comment.
Here comes the comment.
But I just think it's funny that Mr. Cross would be interested in a man like Gregory Redden, who just happens to be the largest publisher of pornography on the Eastern Seaboard.
Not anymore, he's not. Noise pollution is a topic. This is a story.
Stop yelling. We already have an assignment.
There have been times when I've worked on 2 stories at the same time, and so have you.
Yes, I can work on 2 stories at the same time. I could work on 20 stories at the same time. That is not what I'm talking about.
So what are you talking about?
I am talking about you and me. Ex-husband and wife. Lovers. Friends. Competitors. I mean, when I'm around you, all the lines get blurred. And I'm not sure how good a reporter I'll be working with you. And if I lose that, I lose years and years. Now, that is a very steep price to pay. Can you understand that?
I can understand all of it.
You guys always share everything? Plate of fruit and cheese between the 2 of you. I could polish that off in about 4 minutes.
Kelly. Would you do me a favor? This is the computer printout on that noise pollution story. Would you track down those articles and make copies for us?
Sure. Could you let Kay know that I helped you research it? I think he thinks that I'm just a mail person.
Sure. Credit where credit is due, promise.
All right, it's a deal. I'm gonna check out the buffet. Later.
Why did you do that?
Give Kelly some experience. To get rid of some of the busy work on the noise pollution thing and, to give us a chance to explore the Redden story to see if it builds or falls apart. To see if we build or fall apart.
I'm going to take these 2 slugs to a ballistics lab. You get the check. And then I'm going to go to the police department and see what they're willing to share. You coming along?
No.
I thought you just said that.
Yes, I said I'd work with you, but not as your apprentice. I have my own stuff to do.
Like?
Like finding out if there's a Mrs. Gregory Redden. Mrs. Redden? Mrs. Gregory Redden?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you some questions about your late husband.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I don't want to be a hypocrite either in here.
You knew Redden pretty well, then.
Not the way you mean. But when somebody who does what he did moves into your town, well, you tend to take notice.
Did he ever get into any trouble of any kind? Any arrest record, anything like that?
Well, what he did for a living wasn't illegal.
No arrest record, huh?
just the traffic stuff. There's plenty of that. Parking and moving violations galore. I guess when you're pulling in the kind of bucks he was pulling in, you figure the laws don't apply to you.
It was harassment, pure and simple. He'd leave for work every morning. There'd be either a police car or a motorcycle right behind him. 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, and they'd pull him over. Or a foot too far from the curb, and be a parking ticket. Everyone knows that if the police want to hold you to the letter of the law, they'll write tickets all day.
Are you saying that a police car followed him every day to work?
Or a motorcycle, yeah.
How'd you feel about your husband's work, Mrs. Rhue?
You know the old saying, every man has his price. Well, women have prices, too. Nice neighborhood. Good schools. Pretty snapdragons in the lawn. What my husband did for a living, he did elsewhere with people I never met. A lot of faces I'd never seen at his funeral.
Did he ever mention being shot at?
Oh, I heard about that call from the mechanic. But when a car's been through a crash and fire, who knows what those 2 pieces of metal might be? Might be anything.
Agreed. Yeah, something for the ballistics lab to figure out.
You sent those 2 slugs to a ballistics lab?
If they are slugs.
That's what I meant.
Wife doesn't want to help. Police don't want to help. However this guy lived his life, he didn't end up with many people on his side.
Did you learn how to use those?
Hong Kong 4 or 5 years ago.
Lots of new things to learn about you.
That goes both ways. I'd be happy to teach you if you'd be interested.
Miss Bridges, one of your lines are going crazy across the way there, honey.
No.
Thank you.
Hello? Speaking.
Hello, Tracy Bridges here.
Miss Bridges, I've read some of your columns, and I think you've got a good heart. Don't be following up on this thing you're doing. It can only bring hurt, Miss Bridges. Hurt to a lot of innocent people.
Who am I speaking to, please?
Don't hurt people, Miss Bridges. Please.
Who am I speaking to?
Ballistic lab says those pieces of metal are the remains of 38 caliber bullets. One of them very badly damaged, probably by hitting bone.
What's that?
Your mail. I just finished sorting it, and I saw you coming, and I thought it'd be quicker to just hand it to you instead of taking it all the way down to your secretary.
That's very efficient, Kelly. Why don't we just do this together? I do so look forward to our little walks. Now, you'll notice an absence of combat in the hallways this morning. Sign of progress, I'd say.
Oh, no, Mr. Cross isn't here today. It's just Miss Bridges.
She's here and he's not. I thought they were working together.
I don't know, sir. I mean, I don't know is what I mean.
Let nothing stay you from your appointed rounds. Good morning.
Oh. Good morning. What can I do for you?
No need to do anything for me. I just popped in to say good morning. Not everything between us need be business, Miss Bridges.
Oh. That's very sweet of you.
Tell me, how are you and Mr. Cross coming on this, noise pollution story?
Oh, fine. Really good. Really.
And Mr. Cross?
Oh, well, he's at the airport. Well, he's checking the flight patterns, and he's correlating the academic record of all the schools under those flight patterns. Really.
You know, Miss Bridges, you have acquired the habit of adding the word really to everything you say. Now, why do you suppose that is?
I don't know.
thinking after you left yesterday, so I started doing some poking around, and sure enough, here it is. 3 months back, this Mr. Redden reported somebody pumping a couple of shots into his car when it was parked out in front of his office one night.
You didn't know anything about this yesterday, huh?
Mr. Cross, no one police officer knows about every case. This is just a report made after the fact, probably just to show there was an insurance claims person.
You got any theories about why somebody would want to throw a couple of slugs into Redden's car?
Could be somebody trying to express to Mr. Redden just how they felt about his line of business. Important thing is, no one got hurt.
Yeah, well, thanks. Appreciate your help, Detective Everett. Sorry you couldn't tell me about this earlier. It would have saved the magazine a lot of money.
Yeah, those ballistic tests cost a pretty penny, don't they?
I was thinking more about the autopsy.
You people arranged for an autopsy?
Mrs. Redden gave permission. A colleague of mine helped her think it through.
Well, let's see, there's some snapshot albums, home movies, some old letters, financial records.
Mrs. Redden, I appreciate you bringing me all these things, but I don't know exactly why you're doing it. I mean, in our last conversation...
I just had a chance to think, that's all. If I'm going to go along with this, then I can't cooperate just a little bit. It's got to be all the way or nothing.
True.
And I need you to know my husband as he was a long time ago. Not a bad man. Not when you got down to it. Not a strong man. A little frightened and insecure inside. But he just got in over his head, and there was no way to get out.
Did he ever say he wanted to get out?
Not in so many words, but in the way he behaved around our friends and around me. He was ashamed of what he did, and I think finally he was ashamed of himself.
That must be a very lonely way to be.
I think that's why he drank so much. And why there were other women, girls who worked at the club that he owned a piece of. It's just not right to kill someone because they're weak. It's just not right.
Officer Wilder, mind if I call you Terry?
It's okay by me. Just don't let Everett hear you. He's a real bear about that kind of thing.
He's a tough boss, huh?
No, he's fine. He's a good boss.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything like that.
Look, why don't we just get on with it? You ask me what you want, then I can get out of here and back on the road.
All right. How about you telling me what happened the night Gregory Redden was killed? In the auto accident.
Not much I can tell you, really. I was out on patrol out on the Lucas Cutoff. A lot of kids like to race out there. I heard the sound of a car moving at high speed along the access road.
You go after it, the car you heard?
It's over a half a mile from the access road to the Lucas Cutoff. By that time, I would have gotten there, he would have been long gone.
What next?
I heard the sound of a high-speed impact coming from the direction of the access road. By the time I turned my bike around, there was already a visible glow of fire in the northwestern sky. When I arrived at the location of the accident, Mr. Redden's vehicle was engulfed in flames. I called for fire units and ambulances, and then I did what I could with the fire extinguisher in my saddlebags. Against a fire that size, it's of little or no effect. About 5 minutes after that, the fire trucks arrived from Hardin and brought the fire under control. But by that time, of course, it was already too late. Is there anything else you want to ask me?
Miss Redden maintains that her husband was harassed by certain members of this police department. Were you ever one of those members?
Any ticket that Mr. Redden got was fully deserved.
I didn't say anything about tickets. How did you know what I was talking about?
What other kind of harassment would there be?
I don't know. I'm not a cop.
It's getting late. I'm due back on duty. You got any other questions? Check with Everett. Get your answers from him.
Anybody want some more wine?
Not I. Do you want to see the slides now?
Yes, please. Maria, another glass?
No, thank you. And that's just what I was going to ask you. Another glass?
It's only my second.
Well, which is just about 2 glasses more than you generally have.
Oh, I just think it's the story, you know. So many loose ends.
Yes, this extra glass of wine started when Mr. Peter Cross and Miss Tracy Bridges started to work together at the magazine.
I'm able to fool myself, but it seems I haven't developed a talent for fooling you, huh?
Look, Tracy, you and I and Norman, we are not related, but we are family. And families shouldn't keep a secret from each other.
It's hard to tell the truth when you haven't figured it out for yourself.
Well, you can tell me this. There is a history between you and Mr. Cross, right?
There is a history.
You know, sweetheart, sometimes it isn't wise to go back.
Sometimes it isn't possible to break away.
I'll get it.
Thank you.
Who is it, please?
Peter, I need to talk to Tracy.
Oh, yes. Come in, Mr. Cross. Oh, nice to see you again. You're just in time for the show. Tracy! Look who is here.
Hi. What brings you here?
Coroner's office. They just completed the autopsy. That smiling gentleman up there was murdered. 2 bullets straight through the heart.
What time do the bars close in Maryland?
How should I know?
2 o'clock.
Ooh.
Don't ask. Who are you calling at this hour?
Oh, a bar in Maryland that Gregory Redden owned a piece of. Hello? Yes. Are you open for lunch? You're free for lunch tomorrow?
Uh-huh.
I'd like to make a reservation for 3 at 12:30 tomorrow. And the name is Norman Parks. Thank you. Well, if that's the first reservation you ever made at Bubble Busters.
Why did you use my name?
Because I think I spoke to the lady on the phone once before. And she called my office begging me not to do this story.
For your own protection with the Brussels before?
This can't be the place for truck drivers eat. I've always heard if you want good food, you eat where the truck drivers eat.
Maria, have you ever heard a truck driver say that?
No, I've never heard a truck driver say anything but move it lately. Can I get you folks something to drink here? It's been such a long drive. I think a Ramos Fizz would be nice. A Ramos Fizz?
That sounds tidy. Make it 2.
2 Ramos Fizz. And what can I get you, miss?
I think you know who I am. And in a way, I know who you are, except I didn't know your name. It's, Olive. Well, Olive, we've talked before, haven't we? I think it's time we talked again.
Chief gave you permission to go through our files, huh?
Yeah, I simply pointed out how it might look. If the magazine forced the issue, got a court order, and then it turned out the county didn't go along.
Could be misunderstood.
Could be understood.
And the autopsy results?
With the coroner's office going through channels.
If there's anything you need help finding...
No. There is one question. What caliber weapons are your men issued?
Sidearms, you mean?
Sidearms, I mean.
It's a matter of personal preference. They buy what they want, and the department reimburses them.
How many .38 calibers would you say?
No idea.
Well, you must be able to find out. If you're reimbursing them, you must have receipts on what you're reimbursing them for, right?
Must have, I guess. I'll get on it and give you a call.
Good.
Look, I know you think you're doing a good thing here. You're a reporter, and a reporter's supposed to report. This is not one of those times.
Olive, I'm sure you know I can't just take your word for that.
Why not? Why can't you? Look, I'm swearing to you, the only thing you're going to turn up is pain and problems for a lot of innocent people.
Olive, do you know what off the record means? Well, it means no matter what you tell me, I can't use it in the story. And I can't tell anybody that you're the one who told me whatever it is you're holding on to. If you want this conversation to be off the record, you just say the word.
People like you.
What about people like me?
Look at you. You're beautiful. And you're smart. And you've got a job that doesn't make you shake your buns and next to nothing. You don't know how dark and scary and lonely it can get for someone like me.
Olive, there is an epidemic of lonely going around these days. So, what do you say? We off the record or not?
Olive, you're due back on the floor. Oh, and there's a call for you from Terry.
Yeah, the cop's name is Terry. Now, granted, he's not the only Terry in the world, but with the stuff I got out of the files today, this thing is beginning to come into focus.
Talk me through.
All right. The cop that filed a report into the so-called mischief shooting of Redden's car, I read his other reports for that night. If he'd covered the ground he said he did, he'd be riding the space shuttle.
Well, if that report is a phony, and the police took Redden to a deserted stretch of highway and decided to get rid of him.
He wasn't a Boy Scout, Trace.
And Olive is trying to protect her boyfriend by talking us off of this?
That's the way I see it.
I don't. I mean, I talked to her. You didn't.
Mind your own, huh, kid?
Part of the package.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Can I come over to your place and borrow a cup of you?
I think there's some left.
Just admiring the view. I hope it won't crush you to know that your bright face was not the one I was hoping to see when I came out of this.
I'll try to be brave. She's down the hall getting coffee and no doubt telling her doctor he's a veterinarian. How do you feel?
Terrible. Except everything seems to be in place, so I'm not complaining.
You're a very fortunate young man.
I would like to thank the members of the Academy, and especially all the little people who helped me get where I am today.
According to the bomb squad, what was placed under the hood of your car was a shaped charge designed to put its force in one direction. Whoever put it there put it in backwards. That's why you're here instead of exploring other cosmic realms.
Are you sure it was a shaped charge?
That's what the man said.
Hi.
Yes, well, forgive me, but I have a few employer things to say. I have slowly come to the blinding realization that the two of you are no longer working on the noise pollution matter. So be it. But when one of my magazine writers nearly gets killed...
Not true.
What?
Raise me up. The bomb squad said it was a shaped charge.
Yes.
Put in backwards.
That's right.
Nobody's trying to kill anyone. Putting together a shaped charge is a very sophisticated piece of work. A person that knows how to do that also knows how to place it. It was put in backwards on purpose.
To scare you?
Yeah.
Did it?
Scare me? You bet. Scare us off? No way.
You just went from scare me to scare us. Interesting. What do you need me to do?
Do you have any due bills from the coroner's office? Any favors we can call in?
When I get to a phone, I'll find out. Interesting.
some coffee and donuts and things there if you're interested.
It started with what? I don't even know what it is we're doing here.
This is where the coroner's inquest is going to take place tomorrow. Call this a kind of rehearsal that might save everybody a very painful performance.
Right from the start, people have been asking us, no, telling us, not to go ahead with this story. They've been saying that no good will come of it, that people will be hurt. Well, that's not the way we work. It's not the way we're allowed to work.
Why not? Why can't you?
Because, Olive, our job is to tell the truth.
Regardless of who gets hurt.
Mrs. Redden, if there's a sound of thunder, it can't exist by itself. It's caused by lightning. Better we try to find that lightning here and now, or we all might be able to deal with it, than in front of a coroner's inquest. There is no such thing as dark thunder.
We were wondering where Mr. Redden was going that night. He wasn't headed in the direction of your house. And we were also wondering if he was alone.
He might not have been. It was a Wednesday.
A Wednesday, I'm sorry.
Every Wednesday night I would get a call from Greg about his working late. And at first, I believed him.
He was giving me a ride home. Well, we'd go to my place. We'd have a few drinks. Maybe watch a movie on TV and stuff. That's all, usually. Look, we were just going along like we always did.
Till what?
Probably until he saw my light in his rearview mirror.
So, you weren't chasing a couple of speeding teenagers on a county road. You were trailing Redden. Part of the department's plan to harass him whenever possible.
Now, hold on here. This is getting out of hand. You say harassment, the people start thinking just out. It wasn't like that at all.
Well, why don't you tell us how it was, then?
Forgive me, ma'am. We didn't want your husband in our town. What he did for a living just wasn't what our town was about. So, sure, we let him know we were around. Sort of showed him the flag a little bit. But there wasn't any hurting of him. Not like these people are saying.
He's dead, isn't he? How much hurt is that, for God's sake?
Terry!
No, let me tell it.
Don't.
It's gone on too long. Let me tell it. As soon as he saw me, he put his foot on it. He'd never tried to run from me before. He would just cruise along, sticking to the speed limit.
That was because I was with him. He didn't want to get a ticket while I was with him. Because he thought somehow it might get public and embarrass you and your kids. Ma'am, he was real concerned about embarrassing you and your kids.
And when he hit the access road, he was going?
Below 80, something like that.
And then we were turning over and over and over. And when we stopped, it was real quiet. Except for the sound of his siren coming on behind us. And the sound of something dripping, like gasoline. Greg's foot was caught in the floorboard because they were all torn up. And he leaned across me and he pushed the door open and he told me to get out. He told me to get out and run as far away from the car as I could. And he shoved me out and I started to run. And I saw him coming up on his motorcycle and I ran up to him. Just when it happened.
The gas tank exploded.
Do something, she kept saying. To help him, she kept saying it. But there was no helping him. Not like she wanted. And... oh, God in heaven. I may burn in hell for what I did that night, but I know that even there I'm not going to hear sounds like I heard coming out of that Fleetwood. Not ever.
This young man is not a murderer.
Granted. But he's not a very good cop either. And neither are you.
Can either one of you say you'd do any different in the same situation? At 11:01, when he's chasing the man for speeding, he might take a shot. Say he was chasing a fugitive at 11:02, when the poor devil's begging to be taken out. Then the law says it's wrong? Can you explain that to me?
We're not in a position to salve your conscience. You're gonna have to work that out for yourself. We're here to find out what happened and to write about it.
You can bury a dead man, but the truth has a way of coming up for air, no matter who you try to scare off.
You press people. You think you're so holier than thou?
No. We're flawed and as fouled up as you imagine, but we are also caring and responsible, and that's as good as it gets.
The three of you need to see a lawyer, and then the DA. You better go look for the DA before he figures out he has to come looking for you.
Excuse me. Miss Jasinski.
My husband made a lot of compromises in his time, and he got into a lot of things that he couldn't control. But did I understand you to say that he helped you out of the car and told you to run when he himself was trapped?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Jasinski, may I tell my daughters that their father died a hero?
Yes, ma'am. You surely can.
Thank you. Honest legacies are hard to come by. I thank you both. Thank you very much.
Bridges to Cross will be right back.
Every time I look at you, my heart starts dancing. Every little thing you do is so entrancing. You open up my door, I never knew before.
A very good afternoon.
Your food order will be out in a second.
Thank you.
Oh, Peter, what were you so insistent on ordering dinner for all of us?
Well, Norman is the wine expert, I grant you that, but I am the expert on this greasy spoon cuisine.
The Julia Child of Greece speaks.
Look, if we were traveling in Europe, you'd be wanting to eat in all the restaurants for the real people. But here in the district, all you want to do is go out to shishi, fancy places. You never want to rub shoulders with the average guy.
Peter, I rubbed shoulders on 5 continents. And believe me, there were some average guys among them.
Maria, they have video machines.
I always win, I warn you.
Yeah, true.
Would I lie?
Excuse us.
You know, Peter, sometimes you and I click like no other 2 people in the world. And other times...
Sounds like a no-click time to me.
Well, blood sports and deep-fried food are not a part of my life.
I eat in restaurants you like.
And you put ketchup on the veal. I beg your pardon. Is that your hand on my thigh? This looks scrumptious.
Friday, it's Leo and Liz in Beverly Hills.
Surprise!
It's Leo's birthday, but is Liz's gift-giving getting out of hand?
I am Zoltan.
That's Kanga!
Friday.
Next on Bridges to Cross.
Now, is this just sort of a temporary truce, or have you made peace?
Definitely just a truce.
Definitely just temporary.
I think that Mark was murdered.
He said it was an automobile accident.
I think he had some help in going off that cliff.
She's talking about the murder of an investigative reporter.
I don't think so.
There's a story here.
They found Alison Wick's body in her car.
What are you waiting for? You waiting for him to kill Tracy?
You frighten me, and I don't like being frightened. So I want to make a trade. My life for those tapes.
Eastern, CBS Sports coverage of the NBA playoffs continues as the Milwaukee Bucks meet the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 3 of their Eastern Conference semifinal. Now stay tuned as Sumner turns to blackmail and an impassioned plea falls on deaf ears on Knott's Landing. Next, following Newsbreak.